Welcome everyone, I'm Tock Custom, and on this video we're going to show you how to make your own workshop tool organizers like these using the XTOOL P2 Laser Cutter. I've been having a ton of fun making these, so we're going to show you how to get started. Now, besides your laser cutter, here's everything that you'll need to make a box just like this with different compartments and a padded bottom. So we've got a sheet of 6mm MDF, you can also use plywood. We've got a sheet of 6mm EVA foam for padding the inside, and then it's just nice to have some calipers and either super glue or wood glue for your project. Now, to make our pattern for our box, I'm going to use a website called boxes.py, which is a great free online website for creating all these different cool projects for laser cutters. So the first one is just a simple box. So we're going to open this, and it's going to let us put in all these different settings to create our box. So I'll walk you through how I do this, and hopefully this all makes sense. But the first two categories I will just leave as default, and I want to change our dimensions for our box. So I've decided I want our box to be 280 millimeters long by 130 wide and 130 millimeters tall, which is about 11 inches long by 5 inches wide by 5 inches tall. I'm going to uncheck the outside box because I want those to be the inside dimensions. And then I'm going to change the bottom edge from an H edge to a finger joint edge. And then this part here is very important. The thickness, I'm supposed to have 6mm MDF, but it's actually more like 5.9. You'll get a much tighter fit with all of your joints if you get a more accurate measurement of your thickness. SVG format is good, and I think that's everything that I need. So if I hit generate here, it's going to show me what the shapes look like. So this is just a quick way for you to see how your patterns are going to turn out. Now, if everything looks good, I can hit download, and it will download the schematics to a file, and I can load that right into the XTOOL Creative Space software. So here we are in XTOOL Creative Space. I've already loaded our sheet of MDF into the machine, and you can see it on screen. So I'm going to drag the file of our box patterns into the Creative Space here. Something that's really cool about the website we used is all of these different patterns are independent from each other. So I can kind of move these around and hopefully fit these in here so that we can maximize all of the material that we have. So I'm going to take a moment to try to fit these all onto our board, and then we will get ready to cut these out. So everything fits perfectly on our board, and I want to unselect everything by just clicking in this gray area over here. And now we want to set our material. So I'm going to change this to 6mm MDF, which is what we're using. It'll change our thickness, and now I want to select everything we've got, and I'm going to change this from scoring to cutting. And that'll increase the power all the way to the max and slow down the speed of the laser so that you get a nice clean cut. All these settings look good. I'm going to slow this down a little bit to 15, but that should be everything that we need. Now when I hit process, it's going to send this file to the laser cutter, and when we hit go, it will just cut everything out. So here we are at the P2. Everything is loaded up and good to go. So if the light is blue, that means I can hit it and it will start. Alright, so this just finished, and it's going to exhaust any fumes for about 10 seconds, and then we can open it and see if it cut all the way through. Alright, so I'm going to try to not move the board, but see if this, oh, that definitely cut through. So anyway, I feel good about picking this up. If it didn't cut all the way through, you can run it through a second time, or you might need to lower the speed of the laser, but this looks great. So I'm going to collect all these pieces, and then we'll start putting this together. Alright, so here's all of our pieces cut out. It's very normal if there's a little bit of like ash on the edges, but we will clean that up at the end of our project. So anyway, we are just going to very quickly assemble this into a box, and this should all just kind of fit into itself. So there we go. We've got our initial box done, and now we're going to do the padding and the little compartments for the inside. So I'm going to go back to boxes.py, and as I scroll down, I'm going to find this one here that's called Tray Insert. Now, to figure out the dimensions of our compartments, we have to do a little bit of math. So if we want 6 equal compartments like this box right here, we're going to take the length, which in our new box is 280 millimeters, and we're going to divide that by 3. So that gives us 93.3 3. So that is 93.3. It says 93.3 times 3. So that's going to give us 3 equally sized compartments. And then for the width, we've got 2 compartments going this way. So we need to figure out the width of our box was 130 millimeters divided by 2, because we're going to go 2 compartments. And that gives us 65. So for here, we're going to put 65 times 2, just like that. And for the height, we have to account for the depth of the EVA foam padding in the bottom, which is 6 millimeters. 130 millimeters tall minus 6 millimeters should give us 124. Just to make it a little bit shorter, we'll make it 120 millimeters tall. So that should be good for that. I hope that makes sense. Otherwise, you can just copy what I'm doing here. And then the thickness again was, I think, 5.9, which should be good. And then we want to make sure that we have the outside dimensions box checked, because that's going to fill up the entire interior. Now, when I hit generate, once again, it's going to show us what these shapes look like. So we should just have 3 shapes. It's pretty simple. And now I can download this and put this in the XTOOL software. All right, so I'm back in the XTOOL Creative Space. If I hit refresh up here, it's going to refresh the new material I put in there. And I want to get rid of all these shapes that we already cut out earlier, or you can save this for another project later. But I am going to drop our new shapes for our insert in here right now. All right, now I'm just using a piece of scrap MDF for this. So I want to make sure that my thickness is still 6 millimeters, and then we're going to select all of these and change score to cut. And I had to lower the speed to get all the way through before, so I'm going to lower this down to 5 millimeters per second. That should be good to go. I'm going to hit process and start, and we're going to cut out our insert compartments. All right, so we're back at the laser cutter. If I hit the big blue button, this will start. And after just a couple of minutes, we will have all of our new pieces. All right, once again, I'm gonna let this exhaust all the fumes, and then we will make sure that this cut all the way through. Okay, so without moving the whole piece, I just wanna make sure, yeah, that looks like it's good. And while we're down here taking this out, I'm going to throw a piece of scrap EVA foam in here so that we can cut out our padded bottom for our box. All right, so we got our EVA foam in there. I'm going to close the top, and we're going to go make one little design for this. All right, so our last cut finished up great. I'm going to get rid of these, and again, you can save these for making multiple projects. And then I'm going to refresh the camera for the inside, and I can see my sheet of foam on the inside here. So now I'm just going to insert a rectangle, and we're going to do custom measurements. So I'm going to unlock the ratio here, and I think the width was 280 by 130. I think that's right. And that's just going to give us a rectangle that we can use to put in our example of scrap foam here. I want to select the foam, and then we're going to tell it to cut, and I don't have to go quite as slow because foam is really lightweight. Anyway, I can just hit process and start, and then I'll just go hit the button downstairs. This will cut out our foam, and we can finally put everything together. This should be really quick, and then we'll have all of our parts to put this together. All right, so we are all set. Let's go see if we can assemble this thing. All right, so we got all our pieces here. Before I start assembling this, I want to see if I can just put a rubber band around this until I can glue it later. Anyway, let's see if our padding fits in the bottom. Perfect. That is airtight in there. Hopefully you can see that on camera, but that looks perfect like that. And then we can assemble our compartments. So this should just simply slide together just like that. And because we got very accurate thickness measurements, these should fit really snug. So yeah, that's not wiggling around at all. Like on this one, I didn't get the right measurements for the insert, so it kind of wobbles a little bit on this. But this one is perfect, so there's no wobble at all. Anyway, let's see how this fits in the box. Perfect. And it's a little bit lower than the lid, which is exactly what I wanted. So the box is finished, and I don't want to actually glue it together yet because I think I want to do some engraving on all of the sides. So I'm not going to do a full demo on that, but I will do a little bit of a time lapse to show you how that can look. And then we'll glue it together and make this look really pretty. All right, so I got all of my engraving done. Now I'm just gonna take a wet towel and I'm just gonna try to wipe away any kind of burnt edges or ash or anything like that. All right, so MDF dries really fast, and I decided I'm not gonna stain this since it's not plywood and it looks just fine like this. So now we're gonna put this together. So you can use super glue or wood glue, or in my case, I'm gonna use contact cement, and I've got rubber bands, or you can use clamps to hold this whole thing together. But to start, I am going to flip all the pieces upside down. Now I'm going to start with my bottom panel here, and I want to try to get as much of the contact cement off the brush as I can so I can do some really light coats. And I'm just going to be putting contact cement on the little tabs itself. Just a little drop should be fine. Now starting with one of my side pieces, I'm going to do the same thing where on the inside I'm going to put some contact cement on there. And I'm going to do the same thing with one of my end pieces. So contact cement works the best when it's dry, but because I don't feel like putting a little bit between each little fin, I'm going to put this together while it's still wet. So I'm going to put those pieces together, push it down, and then I'm going to do one of my end pieces, so this will all kind of hold its shape. So while these are setting, I'm going to get our other two panels ready. All right, now while this is still wet, I'm going to wrap this up. So I'm going to leave this for about 10 minutes and see that it is nice and solid. Now these compartments fit in here so well, I'm not even going to worry about gluing that in there. So this should be pretty much cured by now, so let's unwrap this and see how it looks. All right, so we are all done with the new box. I'm really happy how this turned out, and I like that it's padded so I don't damage my nice tools when I put them in there. I will do a whole video on engraving if you guys want to see how I did all the designs on here. Otherwise, big thanks to XTOOL for sending me the new P2 Laser Cutter. I'm looking forward to doing some new stuff with that. If you have any other questions, please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.